Good afternoon, everybody. It's Hoz. I wanted to do a podcast today on what's happened in the last few days in Iran, and I thought it's time. It's been 3 days. I wanted to see what the lay of the land was like. The lay of the land was like, and just want to say that Friday the 13th has turned out to be quite the day of reckoning, and it is a day that started at 1:26 in the morning, London time for us, and it's going to go down in history as a coordinated assassination, not of one man, but the attempt of a assassination of the backbone of a nation, the IRGC. It is the immune system of Iran, and that it was struck at the heart of it. They didn't just kill our soldiers; they removed commanders, they removed the symbols and architects. It's people like Hossein Salami. Hossein Salami was the head of the IRGC. It's gone. Mohammad Bagheri, Chief of Staff, the equivalent of the Minister of Defense, gone. Amir Ali Hajizadeh, he's the guy that was the brainchild behind the aerospace and missile command that we've got, gone. Ghulam Ali Rashid, one of the most brilliant strategists of the war of Iran, gone. This is not a battlefield exchange, by the way. This was decapitation. This is what Israel does. It's what it's done in Lebanon. It's what it's done with Hezbollah. It's killed their commanders. And it's tried to do that with Iran. The strike was designed to collapse the command, to blind us, to paralyze us. And it wasn't just done with bombs. Reports say that Mossad was inside Iran, inside our systems, inside our chain of command. They turned off our radars. They jammed our communications. They sabotaged from within. I don't know. It was a surprise attack. This was full infiltration. And our internal security allowed it. Whether by incompetence or betrayal, it's happened. I don't know which one it was. And it felt, for me, staying here in the middle of the night, a national humiliation that there wasn't missiles flying straight back as they started. And someone inside the state made it possible, I think. The IRGC, our shield, our deterrent, our muscle was pierced that night. And our enemies are laughing. But the good thing is Iran is not finished. Not even close. They hit us, and they hit us hard. They killed men that I loved, men who have stood up for Iran through the 8-year Iraq war that we went through. These people were all soldiers of that time. They're the veterans of it. And the thing that people need to understand is Israel did not act alone in this situation. They never do. Because on their own, Israel is nothing. They need handlers. They need fuel. They need permission. And that's where America comes in. That's where NATO comes in. And the Gulf states. I want to talk about Qatar, the country of my birth. Let's talk about Al Udeid Air Base. That's not just a base. That's a gateway to our destruction. Qatar, the land that I was born in. You've helped refuel planes that drop death on Iran. Your silence isn't neutrality here. It's a smirk. It's complicity. In Saudi Arabia, I've heard, you opened your air corridors for them. I don't know if you did or didn't. I'm not sure. But I'm not happy with you either. You let that murder machine pass through to Iran. Emirates, you smiled for the cameras while Gaza was burning. You whispered deals while missiles fell on our cities. And you watched Gaza burn. Turkey, supposedly the ally for us. You fueled Israel. You traded throughout the war with them. You gave them whatever they needed. And you've got your leader, Erdogan. He's all wrapped up in this fucking fake outrage. Meanwhile, profits are being made by him and his friends. Every single one of you are complicit. Not just on the strike on Iran, but in the genocide of Palestine. You didn't just sit on your hands. You extended them to shake with Zionists throughout this whole conflict. You have signed deals with colonizers. You have bowed to the same hands that have killed your brothers in Gaza. You've built towers in Dubai on the bones of the children of Gaza. You're sitting there drinking coffee in Doha while Rafah is starved. And when Israel came for Iran, you said nothing, you did nothing, because you were part of it. You're the one that has got these bases in your countries that are doing whatever Israel needs to do through the American proxy. So you've chosen your side. You've chosen the side of America. You have, in fact, chosen the side of Israel. You are the betrayers of the Ummah. You betrayed your dignity, what you had left. You've betrayed yourselves. And one day you'll have to live with what you've chosen. You're going to have to answer to what you enabled in this region through your silence. And I promise you, no amount of gold is going to buy you absolution here. Not Qatar, not Saudi, not Emirates, not Turkey. All of the money you've made, it's not going to bring you any absolution. It started in darkness. 1:26 in the morning, they attacked us. Friday the 13th. It's a day that's soaked in the blood of Iranian children, because that's when they came for us. Precision missiles, electronic sabotage, and the decapitation of our military leadership, and they hit us before sunrise. And thought that we would sleep through this shame. But we're not the people who grieve quietly. Iran is not a nation that forgets by morning. Less than 18 hours later, that same night, we gave them an answer. So the night of the Friday the 13th is going to be remembered in Israel as well as in Iran. We struck back. And not with words, not with warnings, just with missiles. Ballistic, coordinated, directed. We hit Tel Aviv. We hit military installations. We degraded their military capacity to defend themselves. We hit the core of the Israeli war machine, their Pentagon, the same city that launched the strike on our capital, now has felt the firestorm in return. For the first time, Iran's retaliation has hit the soil of Zionism across all of its places. We're not just fixed to a few places. And we're not doing it through proxies, not through gestures, directly into your face. And still, we're not stopping there. And we didn't stop the next night. The 14th, another round, more targets. No hesitations anymore. The gloves have come off. Your command centers, your bases, your storage depots, they're all burning. 3 of your military bases are fucking wiped. You know why we know that? Because there's no videos or pictures of them. Those have been targeted. Your airplanes, they've gone to Cyprus. All of your air flot, whatever it is, Air Israel, all your airplanes are in other countries. This is not an escalation from Iran. This was a declaration in reply to what you've done. You assassinated our generals. We're going to level your battlegrounds. And then you're coming through back channels. The quiet, please. Let's de-escalate. You're sitting there asking us through the back channels of Iran to de-escalate the situation. No, not this time, guys. Not after what you've done. Because Iran didn't start this war. But I promise you, we will shape exactly how it's going to end. What the thing that people need to understand is people think this is all about Iran. Iran is a threat. Iran is the problem. But look closer. This was never about Iran. It's always been about Palestine. Iran has been targeted because it refuses to forget. It refuses to kneel. It refuses to sell the Palestinian cause for a gas contract. That's the real war. That war against memory. That war against loyalty. That war against resistance. Israel can't beat Gaza. They can't defeat Hezbollah. They can't break Ansar Allah in Yemen. They broke Syria, and they bled it dry. They've installed some ISIS puppets, and they've carved it up through their proxies and their jihadis. Poor Syria is now divided into Turkey, into Kurdistan, into the Sunni area of Syria. Parts of southern Syria are all part of Israel now. But what I tell you is, Iran is not Syria. You guys need to understand. You will not fracture us the way that you fractured them. That's not the way. You're never going to install a puppet regime on our soil. No Zionist Reza Pahlavi, Prince of Crap, is going to be allowed into Iran. Not here, not ever. Never in a million years will a Pahlavi ever come to Iran and tell us how he's going to be the king. Sitting there, bowing his head with his skull cap on at the Wailing Wall. Who do you think you are? A president of America about to come into power? We don't give a fuck about you. You are a traitor to your father's memory. You're sitting there with the enemies of Iran. So now, what they've tried to do is they're trying to strike the spine, the force behind the resistance. The one country that still says no, and that's Iran. Believe me, this isn't about nuclear programs. It's about our defiance. It's about Iran's refusal to let the Palestinians go quietly into the night. 2.3 million people need to be exterminated or removed so that the Israelis can do whatever they want to do. And that's why they want the war with us. Not to stop Iran from attacking, because we haven't. But to stop Iran from defending the resistance. Even to this day, 21 months later, the Israelis are losing soldiers on the ground to Hamas and to the Palestinian resistance. Oh, how did I tell you? You know, while these missiles dropped and martyrs bled, there were still some in Iran, my own countrymen, who are dreaming, still sipping this cup of coffee in the corridors of the Reform Party, still whispering about making deals, still begging for the West to, for the approval of the West, still thinking that somehow America is a broker. And let's say it clearly, America is not a broker here. It's not a mediator. It's the muscle of Tel Aviv. They do exactly as they're fucking told. They don't negotiate. They enforce the will of Israel. America is basically now the bitch of Israel, and it's been proven to the whole world. Everyone can see it for what it is. America has not honored a single agreement with us or with anyone. It breaks them left, right, and center. Why? Because it's learned that lesson from how Israel behaves. And I want to say to the reformist people in Iran, those of you who are still pushing for dialogue, you're not reformists. You are collaborators. You're basically standing on the graves of our generals, and you're calling for diplomacy. I don't want to hear any of it, because talking to them is the language of surrender. It's, you want to call it modernity. We want to join the West. You're desecrating. You're basically, what is it? You're decorating this cage, this gilded cage, for yourselves, and you want to call it progress. You think one of you idiots is going to be the next Elon Musk of Tehran? The Jeff Bezos of post-revolutionary Iran? You're not building a nation. You're building yourselves up. You are greedy. And all at the cost of everything the revolution stood for. But this is bigger than you, your dreams of free trade, zones, and EU handshakes. You need to understand this is about stopping the Greater Israel Project. The colonial project behind every war this area suffered, whether it's Iraq, Libya, whatever. It's always Israel behind it. You need to understand that. There will never, ever be peace in this region. As long as Israel continues expanding, as long as they believe it can annex, bomb, displace, and dictate terms to people, it will never end. So finally, this project must end. This Israeli project, this Greater Israel bullshit must end. That regime must be brought to its knees. And we know the international community won't do it. They've got a stranglehold on our diplomats, on our statesmen, on our government. I don't know what it is, whether it's through compromised videos, whether it's people like Keir Starmer, who's got 3 Ukrainian boyfriends. What videos have they got of Western leaders? How many depraved leaders does the West have that are so compromised that when they're watching a genocide take place in 4K, they still stay there and stand there and say, oh, Israel has the right to defend itself. Israel is not defending itself. Israel is a murderous, genocidal state that is trying to take and gobble up as much of the world as it can. It still has its eyes on Lebanon, the whole of Lebanon. It believes it's part of it. It wants most of Syria all the way up to the Euphrates. It wants Gaza. It wants Jordan. And that's why Iran must stand up. That's why the hardliners in Iran, the conservatives and the reformists, you need to get together because it's us that has to do it. And this is not just a military mission for Iran. This has to be a moral one for us. Because in a civilized world, rabid dogs are put down. They should not be rewarded. You shouldn't be normalizing with rabid dogs. Israel is not a misunderstood state here. It's literally a violent thug and a room full of fucking cowards. And it's time someone made it understand this behavior is over. And you reformists who want to modernize Iran, start defending your soul. Start by defending what it means to be an Iranian. Stop hiding behind fucking diplomacy. Join the fight for justice. And be part of the force that makes Israel act like a state and not a fucking monster. Israel is a monster which has been unleashed on us. They think they're going to be able, this war will restore control. Their military force will be able to buy our silence. Iran can't be punished into disobedience. This is not 2003. This is not Iraq. This is not Libya. This is Iran. You strike here, you expose everything. Not just your troops, not just your bases, the myth itself that you think you've got. And I'm talking to America. That America can't be touched. The myth that Israel can bomb forever without consequences, those days are fucking done. The myth that power protects you from history, that's gone. When one of your aircraft carriers goes under, you're going to lose far more than fucking steel. And that's what's going to happen. You keep pressing buttons with us, you're going to lose the illusion. And illusions are built on what? That's all you've got. That's what NATO is. It's what American foreign policy has depended on for 70 years. Power as a theatre. Prestige as a deterrence. You've lost more fucking wars than we've had fucking hot dinners. All you've done is sacrifice 50,000 lives in fucking Vietnam. What did you do in the end? You walked away. Iran knows this. So does every other oppressed nation watching. And let's speak clearly. Trump's America has already been begged to step in. Israel pleaded. Launch the war for us. We can't do it. But the good thing is, Trump understands that cost. His generals understand that cost. And that cost is that there are 12 to 13 active military bases across the whole of West Asia. Bahrain, Qatar, Emirates, Saudi Arabia, 2 or 3 in Iraq, in Kurdistan, in Jordan, Syria, Turkey. And you know what? All of them are within range. There is no shield wide enough for them, as has been proven by the fact they've had 3-layered defense in Israel, or 3 layers of fucked, and we went straight through them like a knife through hot butter. There is no shield wide enough, no tunnel deep enough, no bunker safe enough. If America sends troops, it's going to send them into a graveyard. And when that first wave that comes back, it's going to come back through Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. That's the place where Americans' war dead are received. You're going to get C-130s full of bodies, full of body bags, full of men and women who died not for America, but for Tel Aviv and Israel. And why? Why should those soldiers die? To protect an apartheid regime? To defend a state that commits genocide? With bombs and smiles? For the camera? Trump was not elected to start another war for Israel. He was elected to end wars, to protect America, not sacrifice it for Zionist ambition. Let's just go a little bit deeper and let's be honest, because we know what happens next. As and when America joins the war, Iran is going to sink your aircraft carriers. It will sink at least one. Because if the Yemenis are able to get you to flee the Red Sea and make peace with them, believe me, the technology we have in Iran, we will sink your aircraft carriers. Anything within reach is going to get fucked. You've only got 70 planes on there at a time, and that is a strategic measure that we need to take into account. Because once we flatten all your bases, you're not going to have a place to fly out of, and all you're going to have is your aircraft carriers. And it's, if it's an existential threat for Iran, an aircraft carrier needs to go as well. And you need to understand, the loss of prestige will be too great for you to absorb. And I know America, you're going to be unable to win conventionally in this area. I spoke to Scott Ritter and he accepts it. America cannot win a war conventionally on the ground in Iran. You need too much time to build up the troops, which you don't have. So what's America going to do? The last option, as Scott said to me last night in a Twitter space, he goes, nuclear weapons. And it's not going to be for America to win. But he said it's to send a message to show it still can, to preserve the illusion that was just shattered. And we as Iranians understand that too. And the Iranian strategy understands that because we're not sleepwalking here. We are wide awake. And for me, and still, I'd say we accept the cost. Because it's going to be the only way to stop this monster, this regime of annihilation, occupation, and apartheid. It's to stand in front of it and suffer. Then when we suffer, because the alternative is a world ruled by these monsters. A world where genocide is rewarded, where cowardice wears a crown, where empire gets to rewrite the rules and regulations of the international order. And the rest of us will just have to bleed in silence. We will never ever accept that. Not as Iranians, not as human beings. It's not in our nature to sit there and take this. Enough is enough. I want you to understand, this isn't about our missiles. This isn't our borders. This isn't our power. This is about meaning. You need to understand that Iran stands because no one else will. Not for profit, not for empire, but for principles. We're not perfect as Iranians. We have made mistakes. But the one thing we haven't done is sold out the cause. Not Palestine, not Lebanon, not Yemen, and definitely not the truth. Others have folded, but the Iranian people and the Iranian nation and the Iranian government have refused to do that. Others have watched this genocide and stayed silent. We sent weapons, we sent expertise, and we've sent our dead back home. We as Iranians are the sons of Imam Hussein. We're not afraid of sacrifice because we've lived through sanctions for 40 years, through isolation, through war. You cannot threaten the people who have already buried their own the way we have. Millions have been buried. We do this for a dream larger than ourselves. Iran is not a regional power. I want you to understand that. It's a moral power. It's literally the last wall holding back absolute fucking savagery at the hands of America and Israel. And if that wall breaks, there'll be nothing left to stop the monsters. If Iran falls, I promise you they'll take Mecca. They will take Karbala. They will take every inch of resistance and burn it for fun. This is not about nationalism. This is not about Shia or Sunnah. This is about whether we still believe in red lines or not. Whether we still believe in justice. Whether we still believe that a nation can say no. And Iran has said no for 45 years. And I'm going to say it again now. No to occupation. No to apartheid. No to your empires. And definitely no to your surrender. So let the bombs fall. Let the networks sit there and lie, whatever they want to say. Let the traitors mock. Iran is still here. It's still fighting. It's still unbroken. And we will not be the last to stand. You know why? Because we will be the first so that others can finally stand too. We're going to stand. And you need to join us. That's all I wanted to say. And I just want to say to my Iranian friends and family, I am unfortunately with a broken back, so I can't get on a fucking plane and go to Iran right now. I can't even survive 15 minutes in a taxi from here to my hospital bed. Or I swear to God, I'll be in Iran right now. So that I stand for the words that I'm saying right now. I beg all my Iranian people and all of the people in the region, wake up. This is the war of all wars. And what has to happen is Israel has to be stopped. They need to have an unconditional surrender and start behaving like a responsible partner in this world that we live in. We can't go to the barbarous world that they've created, where it's acceptable to genocide people and watch their settlers sit there and say, oh, we're going to go to Gaza. We're going to build this and the other. That needs to end now. That's it. I'm done. Thank you very much for listening, and I'm sorry for the delay in me starting at 3 o'clock.